It took electricity 50 years to get 50 million users worldwide. Radio, 38 years. TV, 13. Internet, 4. iPod, 3. And Facebook, only 2 years to get 50 million users worldwide. Another statistic. Products are like people. They are born, they grow, they saturate, and like me, they get over the hill. I'm 56, so you know I'm already here, right? And in the end, they die. Now, the life cycle of products has diminished with a factor of 4 the last 50 years. The longest product life cycle had pharmaceuticals. They are down from 24 years to 8 years. The shortest product life cycle had cosmetics. Cosmetics are down from 12 years to 2.5 years. So the world is turning faster and faster and faster. Now the bad news. I'm sorry. The bad news is that 6 out of 7 official innovation projects in a company, not yours of course, never reach the market. 6 out of 7. There's no customer demand, feasibility is lousy, or the margin sucks, right? And you stop it. Now, I think this is ridiculous. The first thing we have to do is not accept this ratio. Why are you spending all those efforts on failures? Try to improve this. That was my mission. Now, if one thing is clear, that innovation is more essential than ever, and it's very risky. 6 out of 7. First of all, I like to ask a question, what is innovation? And I like to hear your opinion. Now, you have on your chairs, you have a pedal, right? With green and red. Will you help me with this? I'm going to show you some products. And I will ask you, do you think it's an innovation? If you think it's yes, you put the green side up front so I can see it, right? And if not, you put, no, this is not innovation. You put the red side up, okay? Can we have a bit more light in the venue, please, so we can see the difference between red and green? Great, great, great. Okay, so here's the first product, and just use your intuition, right? It's either green or red, there's no yellow, okay? So Amazon, Amazon.com. Was it green or red? Innovation or not? Green, green, green. I love this. Thanks a lot, sir, for voting red. 99% in innovation. Next, Nespresso. Who loves George Clooney? Is he an innovation or not? Ooh, the ladies get excited now. Come on, may I have your votes, please? Oh, that's 90% for Nespresso. Next one. LinkedIn, Facebook for managers. Is that an innovation or not? May I see your votes, please? That's 70% for LinkedIn. Next one. The hand dryer, the Dyson hand dryer. Is he innovating our restrooms or not? Well, again, 80%. James will be happy. Now, Unilever, Let's Pizza. You know this machine? No. So this machine is an experiment for Unilever. What happens? You throw in €4, and then you see the dough in front of your nose being flattened. There comes some meat on it, some red sauce on it, some cheese, and in 4 minutes you see, bing, and there's a fresh pizza coming out of it. Unilever, Let's Pizza. Is this an innovation or not? Please, may I have your votes? 90%. They did a test market in Italy. It completely failed, of course. Never test a 4-minute pizza in Italy, I would say, but okay. Next one, easy formulas. They know in Europe, easy.com, easy cruise, easy car, bottom, low-cost innovation with a simple process. Do you think this is an innovation, yes or no? Oh, Stelios will be crying. It's only 30% innovation. Now, we got Coca-Cola, now we got Coca-Cola Zero. Is Coca-Cola Zero innovation? May I see your votes, please? Make up your minds. Ooh. 5% innovation. Next one. Starbucks. We all know Starbucks. Did Starbucks innovate the coffee retail market? Yes or no? Well, that's 50-50. Interesting. 50%. Now, the first iPad. Is the first iPad an innovation? Yes or no? No, there were iPads and 93%. 93%. Okay. Now the second iPad. Is the second iPad an innovation? Oh, only 5%. That makes a difference. Now, what is the biggest learning from this quiz we did? What is the biggest learning? You never agreed once. And it's the same within your companies. Yeah, I got this great innovation. Duh, innovation. Yeah. So I think innovation is one of the most misused words in business these days. It's like the internet 15 years ago. Yeah, we innovate. The strategy is innovation, innovation. Come and see our innovations, innovation. But what is an innovation? Okay, it's something new, right? Something new. But is it a big jump here, or is it a small step? First iPhone, big jump, iPhone 1. And then iPhone 2, 3, iPhone 4, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPhone 6S, evolutions and revolutions. Now, I don't mind if you earn your money with the evolutions, right? This is how you earn your money. To finance the next big jump. But you have to define in your company also, what are we looking for? For incremental steps? Make it kind of improvement? Or are we looking for revolutions or disruptive or whatever you call it, or radical? Right? And new to whom? I did a workshop last week and I asked everybody, come on, bring something from home which is really innovative to discuss innovations. And the guy brought a tennis ball with him. Everybody said, a tennis ball? Yeah, we know tennis for 300 years. And he said, yes, I started to learn tennis last week. For him, it was an innovation. So how new should new be? Is it new for me, new for the company, new for the market, and new for the world? So when you talk on innovation in your companies, please define it first, because you will be judging it from a totally different perspective most of the time. One thinks, what is our next step? And the other one thinks of something to revolutionize the world. Right? So I like to make things simple, and I write innovation with a big O and N. When we have to do other new things, that's what innovation is, doing other new things. Now, innovation is difficult and frustrating. Who is frustrated by innovation? May I see hands, please? Who is frustrated by innovation? Good. The rest can leave the venue, please. Being frustrated means you're really committed. Congratulations. But it seems like everybody tries to stop you to innovate. Now, I can't make that better. The only way what I learned is I learned to love the struggle, okay? That's the best you can get out of it. But innovation, so I worked for 15 years, first in the food industry and then as a consultant, and I failed for 15 years. And I said, how are we going to solve this? How can we start innovation? So I created a great career, and then I'm a business guy, I studied creativity, and I found a way to to find a methodology how to start innovation, just out of frustration, and I'm so very glad to be at Tenerife now to be able to spread it via my books and via my talks. And it always be difficult, but there are some practical things you can do to make innovation more acceptable inside your organizations. Because it's not the market who is holding back innovation. If you've got a great new product solving relevant customer frictions, you got a big hit. But you have to get it through all the stage gate processes within your companies, right? That's where the problem is most of the time. That's why 6 out of 7 innovations never reach the market. Now, when do you innovate? Continuous innovation? Bullshit. It doesn't exist. I saw an interview with Dr. Norbert Reithofer. He is the Vorstandsvorsitzende, the CEO of BMW Group, the cars. He was asked, why is BMW spending 400 million euros R&D money on electrical cars? And you know what he said? He said, because doing nothing is a bigger risk. That's when you really innovate. Of course, you got your innovation programs, but when do you say yes to a radical step? When doing nothing is a bigger risk, knowing that 6 out of 7 will fail. Right? Now, the most important lesson that I learned myself, that you have to pick the right moment. But here you are, sitting at Mount Teide here in Tenerife, saying, okay, tomorrow morning, nice tour, there you are. Yeah, we need to innovate our company, but there are so many questions still left. First of all, we're stuck in our habits. Yes, of course you're stuck in your habits. Your habits have made you successful today, right? You got a great business word for it. You call it operational excellence. That's what stuck in your habits means. Doing the same thing better and better and cheaper each year. You know your clients are going to ask a discount with higher volume, so you have the low cost price. And you focus and focus and focus more and more and more and more. Now, operational excellence will give you your profits today. But it is innovation excellence will bring you the profits of tomorrow. Now, how do we connect those two things? I think that's an essential question. Next problem, which direction should we go? I'm standing here. Okay, let's innovate. Where do I go? This way, or this way, or this way, or this way? Everybody tries a little bit to the left, a bit to the right, and in the end you're standing still here. If you got little efforts to spend over a used area, you will get these insights. If you focus, you will get these insights. And you will need good, deep insights to get good new innovations. So you have to focus. But where do we go? There's no time and no budget. The bigger the company, the lower the budgets are. Which is bullshit, of course. Of course, there's lots of money and time. But you're just not spending it on innovation. Only on preserving our current business. This means there's no priority, right, for innovation. What's relevant for our customers? Interesting. Or more important in this room is what's relevant for the customers of your customers. Or the customers of the customers of your customers. You should know that. If you don't know what's relevant for them, how can you offer your clients good innovations? And the last time, it's so hard to get internal support. All the no-sayers. Nah, we've done it before. No, that won't work. No, that doesn't fit a strategy. No, that's for tomorrow. No. You get really tired. But stand up again and try again. That's the only thing there is. On the right moment with the right people. Now, I am a travel book reader. I didn't travel before I was 50. Now, my book was translated in Russian and in Chinese and Japanese, and now I get all over the world. But I was a travel book reader. And in one of my travel books, I read this advertisement. It was an advertisement in a London newspaper from Ernest Shackleton. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness. Safe return doubtful, honor and recognition only in case of success. 1913. I believe this is the job advertisement, the first job advertisement for an innovation director. Because this is it, right? 6 out of 7 projects fail. But if one succeeded, yeah! Wow, you're really proud. But most of the time it's not. So to be an innovator, you first must have the courage to challenge the status quo, to say, I am not accepting this. We're going to do something different. Not better, but different. Now, I start reading all my old travel books. And there are some interesting lessons from the expeditions from the past. This is a map of the Strait of Magellan, or Magellan, or Magalhaes, the southern point of South America. Now the question is, why did Magellan sail west? You can say, yeah, well, that's what discoverers do, right? They discover. No, they didn't. Now, in those days, Spain and Portugal ruled the world seas. And they were fighting all over the place. They were losing also a lot of men and a lot of ships. And they said, we got to solve this, but to whom do we go? Now, they were both very Catholic countries, so they went to the Pope. And the Pope was a very practical man. He said, okay, it has to stop, this quarrel between the two of you. You know what I do? Here's a map, and I draw a straight line across the world. Pshoo. And everything to the right is for Portugal, and everything to the left is for Spain. It's called the Treaty of Tordesillas, 1493. Now, the line was just over Brazil. That's why Portugal could just enter Brazil. That's why the only Portuguese-speaking country is Brazil. And the rest is all Spanish, because the Pope let the Spanish go there. Now, why did Magellan sail west? He sailed for Isabel de Castilla from Spain. And the spices were all on the Spice Islands in the east. But she couldn't go through the east because that was for Portugal. So Magellan sailed west because he had to go west to go to the east. That's why we discovered what we call the Pacific Ocean. You sail there through the Strait of Magellan, and there was nobody there. That's why he called it Pacific Ocean, right? It's simple as that. And he did the first circumnavigation of the world. He didn't survive. He died at an island near the Philippines, and the Captain Elcano brought the ships back. What is the lesson we learn from Magellan? As I said, pick the right moment. Now here you see the life cycle of a company or business unit or product. When should you innovate? Innovation takes a long time to get from idea to market. For products, it's on average 36 months. That means 36 months from idea to market. Then you got to launch it. Then it has to become a success. So that means that if you want real revenues, you have to think 5 years ahead. So that's why there is here the moment you want to innovate. But you're still growing. Market is still growing, and your market share is still growing, but then, the market growth tops off, and your market share tops off, and you miss the point where you want to innovate. Because you thought it will be endless like this, right? That's what we hope. Then you get in a crisis. What do you do in a crisis? You can't control the top line, so you control the bottom line. I'm sorry, we have to let you go. It's a crisis, right? And you let 10% of your people go, right? And you made the coffee in the canteen 25 cents more expensive, right? That's what you do in a crisis. In a crisis, nothing happens. Innovation nourishes with freedom, you know, with creativity. And in a crisis, everybody sits with his tight buttocks. Ooh, do I have my job tomorrow or not, right? So nothing happens. After the crisis, here we go again. But is there a future for your company doing the same thing with less people? No. That's the moment you need to innovate. So there's a second sweet spot. The moment you need to innovate, there. Now those are the two moments to innovate. Don't do it when you grow 50%, exploit instead of explore. But you need to explore to find the next S-curve here on time, or to have a good future again here. Those are the two moments you must wait. Why? Because you need urgency. If there's no urgency, why should we innovate? The rest of the team, the management team sit like this, right? Everything's going well. And if you want to innovate, yeah, we need to innovate. Yeah, sure. You get no budget, and you get not the best people. But only when there is a business urgency, you know, you should sit like this as innovator. And you should have your plan ready. And when the shit hits the fan, everybody looks at you. You said, we need to innovate. You said, okay, great. And then you pick out a plan you already have there for 3 years. Right? Because if your company is not ready for it, they will say no. And you can only launch your idea once for the first time. You can't come back after 3 months and say, hey, here's the great idea again. You can only do that when you're Dutch, because we are very stubborn, but you know. Yeah. You all know these 3 men, don't you? Who are they? Collins, Armstrong, Aldrin, right. I was 9 when they landed on the moon in 1969. My parents got me out of bed. It was night in the Netherlands. Small black and white TV, right? And there you saw Armstrong like this. I will never forget it. Wow, there's a man walking on the moon. It was amazing. Now an interesting question is, why did Apollo have a crew of 3? The Russians sent up only 1. Now the cynical people say, yeah, only 1 could die, right? And a lot of Russians died. We didn't know there because of the Iron Curtain, but actually they sent up a crew of 3 because they really relied on each other. Every 3 of them picked a different area, different domain, and they completely relied on each other's opinion. They knew more with 3 than with 1. Actually, they didn't train 3 people. They trained 6. Every crew has a backup crew. If Armstrong would have had a cold that morning, they wouldn't say, oh, I'm sorry, Armstrong have a cold, we can't launch, right? They had a spare captain. Yeah? Now, what is the lesson for us? You can invent alone, but you cannot innovate alone. It's great to be a good scientist, to invent something, but then how do you get it to the market? Which functions do you need to get a new fish oil or omega-3 product to the market? Well, here we go. R&D, of course. Marketing, of course. Production. Buying department, logistics, sales, services, IT, finance. And then are all the managers you need, right? A country manager, a business unit director. Who else? The CFO to finance it, and the CEO. How many people you need in your company to get a new product from idea to market? 10, 50, hundreds, 1,000 people perhaps? If the person who picks up the telephone doesn't know the product, you won't get an order. It's simple as that. Now the interesting part is, I like to make a comparison with your personal lives. May I ask you a personal question? Thank you. Who of you have kids? Please raise your hand. Who of you have kids? Do you like your kids? Please raise your hand. Do you like your kids? Oh, that's good news for your kids. Do you love your kids? Also in the back, that's good news for your kids, right? If there's something now with your kids, you get a WhatsApp from your kids, you run out of the room and try to save them, right? That's what I hope. Now, who of you got neighbors with kids? Neighbors with kids or neighbors of neighbors with kids? Do you like the kids of your neighbors? Do you love the kids of your neighbors? No. The kids of the neighbors are the kids of the neighbors, and they're not yours, I hope. The only difference between your kids and the kids of the neighbors is that your kids are yours. The only difference between your ideas and the ideas of other people in your company is that your ideas are yours. Ideas of others are the kids of the neighbors. You like them, but you don't love them. Will you risk your career for the kids of the neighbors? No. If I'm marketing, I brief R&D and, can you develop this product? And R&D said, well, I've done my totally best. It was so difficult, but unfortunately we couldn't make it. Would the R&D guy or woman did the same if it was his or her idea? No. They would go deeper and deeper and deeper. For your own kids, you go the extra mile. That's why you should ideate always together, as of the start. You should ideate together with the whole team. Because in Africa they say it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a company to raise an innovation. It's not up to marketing or to R&D to come up with ideas. We should all be part of them. They should be our kids, otherwise nothing happens. So that's why we should make it together. That's the second lesson. Now my favorite explorer is Amundsen. Amundsen versus Scott. Are there English people here in the room? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to insult you several times this morning. Amundsen versus Scott, a race for the South Pole. Although the British didn't say it was really a race, right? And, Scott took, what British do. And it was an old army officer, so they took ponies with them. When they go to war, they do that. And the first mechanical tractors. Now, fortunately, the mechanical tractors froze within 3 or 4 days. And he brought ponies to the South Pole. What do ponies eat? Grass, right? Straw. How many grass or straw is there on the South Pole? Nothing. All ponies died within 3 weeks. Amundsen took dogs to the South Pole. Now, dogs have several advantages. When you let a cart be pulled by a pony, and there's an ice bridge, and the pony falls in, what has happened to the cart? Vroom. Goes with the pony, and then gone are your supplies. When you have a span of dogs, of 13 dogs before a sledge, first dog falls into the snow bridge, what do the other dogs do? And they get the dog out, and you still got your dogs and your supplies. Second advantage of dogs. What do dogs eat? Sorry? Ponies? Dogs eat meat. Yes, and what are dogs made of? Meat. That's a great coincidence. So Amundsen fed the weaker dogs to the stronger dogs. Amundsen took a team of 5 to the South Pole and back. He took them on 4 sledges, 52 dogs. He came back with all 5 men, with 1 sledge and 13 healthy dogs. Scott and all his men died along the way. The lesson is observe and learn first before you ideate. Why did Amundsen brought dogs? The year before, Amundsen was with the Goya discovering the northwest route above Canada. He was on the North Pole living with the Inuit. And he saw how the Inuit lived with their dogs. For a year he learned, wow, how valuable dogs were in Arctic environments. And that's why he brought dogs to the South Pole. So this means if you enter new territory, or new markets, or new customer groups, or new business models, or whatever, what new, observe and learn first before you take action. Observe and learn before you ideate. If you want to break the patterns, you must first know the normal patterns. Okay? Next story. Again, the British, I'm sorry. British expedition. Only one expedition was allowed each year. The Brits got it 8 times after each other. And they knew that in 1954, the French would get the license to climb Mount Everest. Now, if the British wouldn't want any nation to be first on Everest, it would be the French. So it had to succeed in 1953. Now, Hillary and Tenzing, they were the first on Everest and came back alive, okay? Which nationality has Hillary? New Zealand, right. And Tenzing was a Sherpa. Why would the British put a New Zealander and a Sherpa first on top of Everest? They didn't plan to. They were the second top team. The first top team was Evans and Bourdillon, Englishman and a Welshman. But they failed. They got up to 600 meters from the top and their oxygen froze, so they couldn't go on. And because they were the first top team, they made the way for the second top team so Hillary and Tenzing could go faster. And that's why, you know, they could climb what we now know as the Hillary Steps and were first on top of Everest. Right? The most important lesson for us as innovators is that you should never bet on one horse. When you got a challenge and you know that 6 out of 7 innovation projects fail, always work simultaneously on 3 or 4 projects with the same goal or with the same market. Because you know that 1 or 2 or 3 out of them will never reach the market, but you don't know which one yet. Always work on multiple options when you innovate. Don't focus on one idea, because you won't have an alternative. That's why you have to go to the end and it will fail. Now, why did the Spanish crown say yes to Columbus? Before the Treaty of Tordesillas, the world looked like this. This was a map of Henricus Martellus, a German cartographer. It's interesting. What we knew well, we draw big, right? So that's why Africa is so big, because we have sailed this to go to the Spice Islands. Now, which continents do we miss here? America and Australia. Yeah. Now, Columbus went to Isabel de Castilla and said, well, Isabel, I think of going another way. Why don't we go like this? Choop, choop, choop. I calculated and it's possible. He was a great navigator, Columbus, and there were some new techniques, but he had mistaken himself with a factor of 7 about the distance. But the reason Isabel Castilla said yes to Columbus because he had a plan. He had a map, and that's why she said yes. So she gave him a bunch of criminals and some 3 rotten ships. It took Columbus 1.5 years to fix them in the harbor, and then he sailed out. Now the important thing is to have a map. I will do a little exercise with you on the next slide. Suppose this is a field of snow, and the black thing is a path. And I ask you to cross from this side to the other side. Where would you go? On the path, right? On the path? Yes? Okay. Now I'm going to put you in a time machine. I make you 5 years younger, 10 years younger, 20 years younger, 30 years younger, 40 years younger, 50 years younger, 55 years younger. You have to go from there to there, through the snow. How do you go? To the snow. What happened to you guys? What happened? You will only go now if you see a path, right? Now, innovation is a field of snow. There is no path in innovation. If you want your colleagues to join you, you have to create a path for them. Because then they have the security, oh, there's a path, and now it feels like less risky. So a path provides security. And that's what your role is as innovators. As innovators, your role is to reduce uncertainty. That's what your role is. Here you got your idea, 100% uncertainty. And then you start developing it. Oh, well, it seems feasible, and oh, we even can produce it, and wow, customers are interested, and hey, we calculate it, and there's a business model. You reduce uncertainty until the moment you launch, because we don't want to launch a failure. So you provide your company with certainty. That's what your role is as innovator. That's why you should provide a path. Now, how can you innovate in the expedition way? I made a path. Inspired by innovators, I, of course, made a map, right? So this is a map, a path to start innovation. You see 5 islands, full steam ahead, observe and learn, raise ideas, test ideas, homecoming. The methodology is called FORTH, F-O-R-T-H, because it's an acronym. It's the first letter of each island so that I could remember it myself. And it consists of 15 workshops, all structured workshops with a route along the 5 islands, right? Workshop 1 to 15. Now, of course, innovation is iteration. We try again, and we try again, and we try again. But people like us, we don't like doing this. We like to move ahead. So there's a lot of iteration in it. I only draw it as a straight line because it feels like we're going ahead. That's what we want. Right? And the most thing is, there are only 2 things. You know, the map looks nice, but there are only, from content-wise, 2 things. This is not rocket science. What I did is, we start inside the box, here, full steam ahead with an assignment. We go outside the box, raise ideas, but then you are outside the box. And the rest of your company is as conservative as ever. So you must place your ideas back into the box, otherwise nothing happens. Right? So here you go straight away inside the box via test ideas and homecoming. So that's what I did. Outside the box and back inside the box. Business thinking, ethnography, design thinking, and back to business thinking. That's it. And I am Dutch, so I am very structured. I was once in India, and they said, well, this is Gijs van Wulfen, he's from the Netherlands. Who of you know the Netherlands? And there were only a few fingers. It was at Infosys in Hyderabad. And they said, well, who of you knows Germany? Oh, a lot of fingers went up. And he said, Gijs is a less boring German. Why do I tell this? I tell this because my German side is structure. Are there any Germans here? Good. They're all together, right? Yeah. We have Der Mannschaft here. Welcome, Der Mannschaft. Yeah. We have nice football matches against each other. I love the Germans. Except with football. But you know, we are very structured. Chuck, chuck, chuck. Everything is structured and structured and structured. So this is all structured with templates and agendas and so this is really nice. That's because, you know, the point is you say innovation, no, we have to be free. We have to be creative. There are no boundaries, but that's bullshit. You have to have a well-developed framework, and within the framework you must be creative, but not outside, otherwise it will be a journey and it will end nowhere. And this is an expedition because we have to bring back business cases, right? That's the difference. So, full steam ahead. Assignment in a team. First, decide where do we want to go. Do you want to go to the South Pole or to Mount Everest or to the moon? Decide on that. Get a focus. If you don't focus, you will end up nowhere. Now, the second thing is the team. In your companies, is there something like working groups and steering groups? Yes, may I see some fingers? Who knows working groups and steering groups, steering committees? Yes? Do you like that? No. No, not really, right? The steering committee always says no to what the working group proposes, right? That's why they're there, right? They're there because they don't trust the working group. Or we as managers think, oh, no, I was in the steering committee. Well, being in the steering committee is also very lousy. How can you say yes to a new business proposal from paper? How? You can't. How can you say yes to something you've never seen or done from paper? You can't. That's why they say no all the time. So here on this journey, there is a core team and there's an extended team. So take the decision makers on the expedition. Not full time, but let them experience the most important parts. Because I only believe it when I see it and when I do it. When I see relevant customer friction there, I think, we can solve that. When I'm in a brainstorm, we get great ideas and I'm part of it. And then I see customer feedback coming and say, customers like it, this is good. And then I'm godfather of a business case and I will support it. And this is how to get support from the top managers. Let them join the expedition. And if they don't want to join, no, it's not worth, I'm so busy, I can't spend 6 days on innovation. You say, okay, I'll just wait until the shit gets a bit bigger. Next year you will, or the year after you will. Right? If they don't want to spend time on innovation, or if you don't want it, it's not a priority. So just wait another year. Yeah? So get them on your team. That's important. Now, the most important phase is observe and learn. Customer frictions. Another personal question. Who of you has car insurance? Who of you is car insured? Who of you changed car insurance company in 2016? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 200. Another question. Who of you go to the barber, to the hairdresser? Who of you changed hairdressers in 2016? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 200. Who of you is in love or married? Or are you both? Who of you changed partners in 2016? 1 out of 200. And you are the innovators of the visual industry? When do you change? You change to solve a problem. The most important thing is to solve a relevant customer friction. If you come out with a new product, your customer must change his behavior. Why should he? Why should I change my behavior? You don't. I don't. Why should I change my behavior for some new visual product? In one of the brochures says, I don't know if you know this, omega-3 is always a good idea. So what? So what? I will only use your product if you solve a relevant problem for me. Do you know what my problems are? No, you're making products, say, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. So fucking what? I won't change my behavior for that. Make something which is a solution for me. So innovation is not about getting ideas. Innovation is about finding out what are the real problems of your target groups. If you're doing business to business, what is on the agenda of your clients in 3 years? Because you have to make the solution now for them. If you're in business to consumer, what interests people in 3 to 5 years? What are their problems? Find out. Finding out the right problem is essential in innovation. Then you come up with a simple solution. That's why this phase is important. Now there's another thing. At which moments of the day or night you get your best ideas? At which moments do they pop into your head? At which moments? At night. At which moments of the day? What do you do? Early in the morning. And you? I'm sorry?
Late at night.
Late today. What do you do for you? When you get your best ideas, when do they pop up in your mind, those great ideas?
Kind of early in the morning.
Early in the morning. Yes? Skiing. Great. What the hell do you do at the office then? Not getting great ideas. Congratulations. Playing busy managers, huh? Yeah. Yes, you are. All the office buzz and blah. You get your best ideas when you stop thinking. When you come here in Tenerife, and walk on the beach, that's what you get your ideas. Yeah. So you must stop thinking. If you have but you're used to problem solution, because that's what good managers like you do, problem solution. Innovation is totally different. It's a big goal here in an innovation assignment. Then we go out, observe and learn. We don't think, and then suddenly at night, and while mowing the lawn, or while jogging, all those great ideas come, and you write them down in a little booklet. And you write them down for weeks. And then you should brainstorm, not to get ideas, but to share ideas so that it becomes our ideas. And then you come to the island of creativity. That's the easy part. So you get a big brainstorm. Now here are some guys, Brel, a Dutch producer of concrete building materials. They make concrete, right? Prefab concrete and mortar, things like that. There was a huge crisis for 5 years. Family company, not so big, 150 million euros turnover. They had 1/3 of their personnel. They had to let them go because of the crisis. They said, family company, what will the 4th generation will do? We want to innovate our sector. All guys, you see, no women. Hey, this is a concrete factory, right? No women there. Now these guys, and they are planners, and this normal guys, they did a project like this. And here at Raise Ideas, they got 964 ideas. Why so many? Because they observe and learned. And at day 2 of the brainstorm, they got 15 new concepts. They thought they couldn't do it. Anybody can innovate, as long as there's urgency, right? You can solve your personal problems also. You're creative then, you're also creative solving business problems. So that's what you do at Create Ideas. But then, I love my idea, but is it a good idea or not? So go immediately to customers in test ideas. Check 15 concepts. Half of them is shit, but we don't know which half. That's a problem. So go back to customers, get feedback, and improve them, and improve them, and improve them. Right away, because innovation is matching a new technology with a customer friction at the business model. So be sure there is a link between what you discover and what the market needs. At the start of innovation, not at the end, because you will spend years on something nobody wants. So test ideas as already at the start phase here. And then, of course, come home with business cases. That's what everybody wants business cases, so bring back a business case. That's what you have to do. Now, this is the innovation process from idea to the left to introduction to the right. It's called a stage-gated process. How many of you have a process like this in your company? Okay. Do you like a process like this? Or not? So this should help innovation and at the same time it blocks innovation because you will have all those gates. I had to fill in endlessly review papers and review papers and review papers. And no, it's for you, good guys. No, we're only trying to help you. But I had some risk-averse managers, people like you, right, who tried to stop anything, who asked 1,000 questions because they weren't sure. and it caused a lot of paperwork, and it only delayed innovation instead of that it speeded up innovation. Now the fourth method goes, you take the bosses with you and you got the first 3 phases in 15 weeks. And speed becomes important. So you have to speed it up. So here how it fits in, and this methodology is, it will get you to the end of the beginning. Then you still have to do the research and development and the introduction, of course. So here is the position of the methodology. Now there has been scientific research on the methodology, which is very nice, which proves that actually with Ford you can get more business cases to the market. But that's logical, because at the start you already checked if there's a customer need and if there's a business case and if it's feasible. So you just spend a little more time and money to start innovation right, to speed up the process and get more business cases to the market. I cannot guarantee you more success. I can guarantee you less failures, because you will have less failures because you will do the start more thoroughly. It's also in French. Are there any French here in the room? Yes? Partir, explorer, développer, réfléchir et rentrer. There is abreisen, entdecken, entwickeln, reflektieren, zurückkommen, meine Herren. There is, so this is Spanish, right? I think it's Spanish, right? Hope so. A toda máquina, observar y aprender, generación de ideas, testa las ideas, vuelta a la casa. A todo vapor, observar y aprender, levanta ideas, testa esas ideas, voltando para casa. It's Portuguese. There we have Turkish. Somebody from Turkey here? Yes. Can you read it out loud, please? Even done it. Thank you very much. Testicular. So, from Russia. Who's from Russia here? Can you read it out loud, please? Thank you very much. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, here we have Japanese. Anybody from Japan here? Can you read it in Japanese, please? Oh, I'm sorry. And here we have Chinese. Anybody from China? Nobody from China, right? Okay, okay. Can you read it, please? Thank you very much. Wonderful, wonderful. Great. Now, to sum up, what did Brel did at the end of their journey? I told you about the concrete guys. So they said there is 3D printing, which will change house building. But 3D printing was only technology. So they made a business case and they were looked for a customer friction. They found a customer friction at architects, because architects want to make wonderful buildings, which you can't make with traditional concrete. So within 14 months, they got software, they got 3D printing machines, they got an experiment plan, and they just made this. It is 2 meters high, in blue, they made things like this, and architects love it. They choose architects because they want a high value market to start with, right? Because the costs are still very high. So they did this in 14 months, and they really made themselves and also me proud in doing this. But Ford is not only used for products, it's been used for services, and also in the third world. I trained here Andrew Begori, he's a high chief commissioner from the UNHCR. And in December, here you see the workshop. He used Ford to innovate 3 refugee camps in Uganda with 100,000 people. And I'm even more proud on this than on so you really can change people's life with innovation. So we're really grateful that they're using the methodology. Now, I had for you this morning 5 takeaways. First takeaway is never innovate alone. You need a lot of people. Connect to them. The second one is innovate in a structured way, because that will give people the path they need to follow you. Solve a relevant friction. It's not about products, it's about solving relevant frictions of business to business or consumers. reach out to customers already at the start of innovation and check your solutions continuously. Am I on the right path? And bring back business. Now, I've been talking to you about the front end. I got a very important message from the back end. And this is a letter an 8-year-old girl wrote to the captain of an airplane. Dear my name is Nicola, I'm 8 years old. This is my first flight. But I'm not scared. I like to watch the clouds go by. My mom says the crew is nice. I think the plane is good. Thanks for the night flights, but don't fuck up the landing. So if you start innovation the right way, don't fuck up the landing, okay? Okay, enjoy your own innovation expeditions. Thank you, Tenerife. Thank you. Thank you.
Great presentation. We are running a few minutes behind, but I think we have time for taking just a couple questions. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone and we'll keep rolling. I have one question. So in your 5 steps, you bring in the customers toward the end. Have you ever thought about bringing the customers in earlier in the process, and how has that impacted the results?
Yes, so the customers are not only in test study, but also in observe and learn. So in observe and learn, you use ethnography to reach out to customers to get the customer frictions. Of course, you can do that in customer focus groups, right? You get a couple of them in. But also, and especially in business, you go out to customers, spend time with customers, and try to find out in a structural way what are the buts, what are the problems they have now, or the problems they will encounter in 3 years. So you reach out to them and observe and learn, find the problems, you ideate with the expert solutions, and you go back to them, do I have the same, am I on the right path? Now you also hear a lot of, shouldn't we ideate together with customers? Right? That will be your next question, Tim.
It was going to be my next question.
I thought so. Now the point is, customers have a reference for today. They judge from the business of today. You are making innovations for their business, their demand, in 5 years or in 3 years, because that's how long, that's when it's real innovation. So that's why you should, when I ideate with customers in the room, you only get little improvements. You get better products, but not other products or other solutions. That's why I don't have them in the room and we ideate.
Great. Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And enjoy the conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.